Hey, we've received news that the Leviathans will be making a return in the next patch, which is in October. Arrowhead CEO also responded to a few questions on the official Helldivers Discord. Not only that, but the community manager revealed some things that are canon in Helldivers 2. Plus, we have so much more to talk about. If you enjoy my content, please support the channel by clicking the thumbs up button below the video. With that said, let's jump right in. Okay, Helldivers, first up, we've got to talk about the Helldivers 2 reviews, because if you've watched one of my previous videos, you may have seen one where I discussed the recent review bomb. Well, unfortunately, things just got worse, and I'm not sure what to say about it. We can see that before the reviews on Xbox were set at 4.1, they've now dropped suddenly to 3.9, yes, 3.9. This is on the official Xbox side. And we can see Helldivers 2 is at the very top. Now, is it surprising to see the reviews drop so low? No, not at all, considering there have been so many bugs that have gone unresolved for such a long time, especially given that there have been several reports of game crashes and freezes on console and Steam. Also, not to mention, there have been some performance issues on Steam. On that note, I'm unsure how this game runs on console, and I couldn't tell you if there are any problems on Xbox or PlayStation. If you play on console, feel free to let me know how it performs and whether it's good or bad. Nevertheless, it's a shame to see the review numbers drop so low. You can see how there have been reviews about Helldivers 2 lagging, crashing, being unable to play, freezing, and so many other issues reported here. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how the developers are going to recover from this. We know they're going to release a new patch next month, mid-October, yet if you're like me, then you're a bit skeptical, right? Basically questioning whether they'll actually release a solid patch that won't break the game. If it does, then yeah, that's not going to be a great look, and it could mean that Helldivers 2 will sadly continue to go downhill. They absolutely have to nail down the crashes and major issues. Otherwise, if they don't, then that means that there will be more negative reviews. Not just on Xbox, but also on Steam. Now, I personally don't want that, not because I create content about Helldivers 2, but because I genuinely enjoy playing Helldivers 2, testing out the new war bonds, and discussing the new patches they release. I also have a lot of fun communicating with you Helldivers, even on my Discord as well. Overall, I have my fingers crossed and hope they, as in Arrowhead, can get out of this terrible situation. And I'll be sure to let you know my honest opinion about the next patch in October and tell you if it's great or if it's terrible. Okay, how about we talk about the Meridian Singularity, because if you didn't know, just now, High Command has informed us we can now revisit the Meridian Singularity. And yeah, you absolutely can. If you go to the galactic map, click on the Wormhole, you can travel there. So yeah, Xbox players, check it out. I know you guys haven't been able to check it out before, but now you can. So what does this mean? Does it mean we're going to see more Illuminate enemies? Maybe. But I think what's going to happen is we're actually going to close the Meridian Singularity very soon. Considering we have acquired E711, it's very well possible. Let me know your ideas. What do you think's going to happen? Moving along, let's now talk about Arrowhead CEO Shams Georgiani's response and how he responded to a player about the missing Leviathans. If you didn't know, they've suddenly disappeared ever since the Into the Unjust update that dropped earlier this month. With that being said, we can see the question is from a player on the official Helldivers Discord asking if the developers had deleted the Leviathans from the game. Shams Georgiani confirmed it's actually a bug and will be resolved in the next patch that's arriving in mid-October. Since we're talking about the Leviathans, I created a video a few days ago, sometime this month, informing several of you Helldivers out there about this missing enemy right after the new war bond dropped, because I know a lot of you wanted to know if the solo silo stratagem could take them out, and I didn't have any footage of it and had to explain why. So now we know it's 100% a bug, which is a no-brainer, right? Because if they're not popping up, then obviously it's broken. Anyway, once the update drops, I'll have a clip of myself testing the stratagem and letting you know if it can indeed eliminate Leviathans. Make sure to keep your eyes open for that video when it drops because it'll be featured in a news video. Next up, the second question is interesting, and I haven't seen a lot of Helldivers discuss it as of late. There's a Helldiver who wants to know if Arrowhead's CEO is aware of the Siege artillery bug, where when you throw down the stratagem, it doesn't send the shell, and the beam disappears. Basically, it doesn't work. If so, then you might be happy with this response. Shams gave a response stating that he's personally not aware of the bug. However, QA is fully aware of the issue, and they're most likely investigating the problems at hand, considering next month's patch is supposed to resolve several bugs, crashes, balance enemies, and weapons, as well as some other things. Coming in at number 3, this player asked if Helldivers 3 would be a natural extension of Helldivers 2 and wanted to know if they're still planning on it. Surprisingly, Shams wrote that they have no plans to release Helldivers 3 in the near future, but he said something interesting about how they want Helldivers 2 to last as long as possible and told the player to think of RuneScape. I'd like to ask straight away, do you Helldivers really think that's actually possible? In my opinion, I think the problem with that is they'll need to provide progression, things to work towards, and there needs to be refreshing content beyond just dropping new war bonds. Not to mention, they'll have to work really hard on the patches to keep players satisfied. That's my opinion. I might be wrong. You can tell me if I'm wrong. If so, feel free to do it. The last question is from a different Helldiver who was a little upset about experiencing a lot of disconnections and lag. Shams replied to this comment as well and apologized for the recent issues. He discussed how some players have been dealing with numerous problems and how an update is coming to resolve several bugs at hand. With this response, there very well could be a fix for those two issues. Now, I will say I certainly haven't experienced any lagging or disconnects. I'm not saying it's not a problem for some of you, I just haven't experienced it personally. What I'd like to know is if you have, and if so, please let me know in the comments. And what happened? Like, were you playing around and it just happened? Did you use a certain weapon? Let me know. Alright, let's set that conversation aside for another day when the CEO can address more questions. For now, let's go over a response from Arrowhead's community manager to a player's question about whether the gameplay is canon. Bastionet replied, individual gameplay really can't be, since we can't collect, measure, canonize it. Interesting, right? I'd like to point out that the Reddit member who created this post discussed how there have been a lot of ideas going around that everything is canon. However, it's false to a point. Mr. gave an example by stating that when you launch a Strider into orbit, or if you were to, that's not canon. But the fact that your Helldiver eliminates a Strider is canon. On a different note, we've got news about another job position that Arrowhead has posted on their official website. They're looking for a licensing coordinator, as you can see in this screenshot here. They're looking for someone who can help with collaborations, and we can tell that they want this person applying to be successful at licensing projects, which makes sense. Could this job position help with bringing new crossovers into Helldivers 2? No, unfortunately, I don't think so. Perhaps whoever applies will be able to help. I don't know. This is pretty much what I think is for merchandise, because you can see right here in this second screenshot, they talk about new merchandise and licensing initiatives. I think all in all, this is great news because they're looking into giving players the chance to buy brand new Helldivers merch. I would love to see high quality capes, helmets, miniatures, stickers, mouse pads. I mean, there's so much they can do with merch. If we want to be real here, this is a great way for them to earn additional revenue and put the money towards hiring code developers to help with content or towards their next game that's in development. So there's a lot they can do with this. And I get it, right? You know, some of you are probably going to say, well, I don't care about merch. I just want the game to be fixed, resolved, whatever, right? And I completely agree. I'm only covering this news because I think it's just awesome to know about, and some of you might be happy to hear that they're looking for different ways to to bring us merch, and I'm excited about this. Lastly, we've got the top 3 comments. First from Luke that talked about how the developers need to understand that the community's concerns over the Coyote nerf reflects their overall perspectives on balancing choices being made. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There's been a lot of, I don't know, paranoia, right? We're paranoid that the developers are going to nerf our favorite weapons, and they tend to do that, right? They've done it in the past. The Slugger would be a great example. I'm sure there's some other ones out there. The second top comment comes from Tamachi that spoke on the 500 kg stratagem and how it's deceptive because, you know, there are instances, if I can speak, where you throw down the stratagem, the 500 kg hits the ground, and it looks massive, but yeah, the enemies always are able to walk away from it, like, without a scratch. The third and final top comment comes from Darkness Shadow KGA. Shout out to you. You talked about how the Halo ODST shotgun needs to be medium pin, and I love that idea. It would actually make it useful, like more useful. I mean, it's okay now, but man, add medium pin to it and I'll absolutely fall in love. Anywho, those are the top 3 comments. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to tap the thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and all that great stuff. I appreciate everyone, from the subscribers, the members, and the lurkers. If you're lurking on the channel, subscribe. It's completely free. You just tap the subscribe button and make sure the notifications are turned on. Anyways, thank you to everyone that has watched today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.